Good morning, YouTube. Hey, everyone out there in survival land. How you doing? Oh, they're frisky. Oh, look at that. Look at them go. Now, these things ignite really quick. See how quick? I just barely touched that. Alright, YouTube. Freedom for Kaz here. Hey, what's going on, everyone? I'm making a video today, and today's video is about a magazine, Time Magazine, and it is the 10th annual history issue. And what's amazing about it is it's got the Constitution on the front, and it says, does it still matter? And as you can see, it's being shredded on the bottom, and I just find this kind of amazing that they're even asking the question, does it still matter? Because obviously, of course, it does matter. But let's get right to the story here. This is the opening page of it, and it kind of gives like a story. And you can see here the Constitution is completely shredded into minuscule strips. And I went through and I read the article, and I highlighted some of the sections here, and some are in green, some are in orange, and there's one section in red. So I want to get to it right here. It says, what would the framers say about whether the drones over Libya constitute a violation of Article 1, Section 8, which gives Congress the power to declare war? Well, since George Washington didn't even dream that a man could fly, much less use a global positioning satellite to aim a missile, it's hard to say what he would think. And what would the framers say about whether a tax on the people who did not buy health insurance was an abuse of Congress's authority under the Commerce Clause? Well, since James Madison did not know what health insurance was, and doctors back then still used leeches, it's difficult to know what he would say. And what would Thomas Jefferson, a man who owned slaves and is believed to have fathered children with at least one of them, think about a half-white, half-black American president born in Hawaii, a state that didn't even exist? And again, hard to say. The framers were not gods and were not infallible. Yes, they gave us the world a blueprint for protection of democratic freedoms, freedom of speech, assembly, and religion. What's kind of interesting is that this article constantly talks about democratic freedoms, and I'm not sure why they're saying democratic freedoms, because the United States is a republic. So I don't understand that. Further on in the article, it says, a crisis is when the Constitution breaks down. We're not in danger of that, nor are we in danger of flipping the Constitution on its head. I find that comment very interesting, because we are in fact at that point. They are just totally destroying the Constitution. Alright? Now here's another green article. It says, it is true that the framers feared concentrated central power more than disorder. They were, after all, revolutionaries. To them, an all-powerful state was a greater threat to liberty than discord and turbulence. Sorry. Let me say that again. It is true that the framers feared concentrated central power more than disorder. They were, after all, revolutionaries. To them, an all-powerful state was a greater threat to liberty than discord and turbulence. That's a true statement. They were definitely more afraid of a greater government than any kind of disorder or any kind of turbulence. Okay, so let's go to the orange articles. The orange articles are in between the red and the green, which are heavier statements, all right? Truth is, the Constitution massively strengthened the central government of the United States for this simple reason that it establishes one where none had existed before. Okay? Well, that statement is completely taken out of context. The reason why the forefathers created the Constitution was for that exact reason. They wanted to create a government that had never been created before. That is a true statement. But the statement that they're making is saying that the Constitution allowed for government to become great, which is inaccurate. That's very inaccurate. Our forefathers created the Constitution to establish a government of this type that had never, ever been established. And that government was to follow the Constitution. And here's another article followed right by a red one, which is another reason why we shouldn't be so delicate about changing the Constitution or reinterpreting it. It was written in a spirit of change and revolution and turbulence. See that again. Which is another reason why we shouldn't be so delicate about changing the Constitution or reinterpreting it. It was written in a spirit of change and revolution and turbulence. Okay? Most of the Constitution should not be changed. When I say most, I mean like probably a good portion of 80% of it should be left just the way it is. Maybe even 90% of it. Our forefathers had the vision, or our forefathers knew that the government we have today was going to happen. They could see that. They knew that. And I'm going to read this last article here that is highlighted in red because this is a very, very critical statement. It says, referring to the Constitution, it was not written in stone. Its purpose was to create a government that could unite and lead and govern a new nation, a nation that framers hoped would grow in size and strength in ways that they could not imagine. Okay? Let me say that again. It was not written in stone. Its purpose was to create a government that could unite and lead and govern a nation that framers hoped would grow in size and strength in ways that they could never imagine. That is a false statement. That is a false statement. It says right here, its purpose was to create a government that could unite and lead. Okay? The Constitution was never written for the government to lead. The government was supposed to listen. The government was never supposed to lead. The United States government was supposed to listen to its people. This is a very, very interesting article, and I strongly suggest that you guys get this Time article and research it. It's the 10th annual history issue, Time magazine, and the date on this, ironically enough, the date on the magazine is July 4th, 2011. I know you can't see that because it's in fine print. I find this utterly amazing. They are talking about the destruction of the Constitution on July 4th, 2011 issue. It's the 10th anniversary history issue, Time magazine. Check it out. Read the whole article. You will be amazed.